You think a younger woman wants an older man because of age alone, because of money, because of experience, because of some fantasy she built in her head. But the truth is, when she really craves an older man, she is not chasing his age. She is testing his gravity. You think her attraction is the win. It's not. Her questions are the test. Subscribe if you need this kind of truth on a regular basis, because your problem is not lack of attention. Your problem is that the moment attraction shows up, you start performing. You start trying to impress instead of standing still in your own weight. You do not need more romantic myths. You need reminders. You need clarity. You need somebody to keep dragging you back to reality before you trade masculine self-respect for temporary validation. Here's what it really means. When a woman craves an older man, she usually is not testing whether he can excite her. That part is easy. She is testing whether he can contain himself, whether he can stay grounded around beauty, youth, tension, and possibility without becoming childish. And that test almost always comes through two questions. Not because women are robots, not because life is a script, but because attraction always looks for proof, and proof always shows up in the form of pressure. The first question is this: why are you still single? The second is this: what do you want with me? Sometimes she says them directly. Sometimes she wraps them in humor. Sometimes she hides them inside casual conversation. But make no mistake, those two questions are almost always there. One tests your past, the other tests your intention. One asks whether your solitude came from standards or damage. The other asks whether your desire comes from clarity or appetite, and most men fail both. That's the misconception. You think those questions are just curiosity, just small talk, just flirtation. Hard truth, those questions are calibration. She is reading your nervous system. She is reading whether your age made you stronger or just older, whether time built your center or just gave your excuses gray hair. Because a younger woman who is truly drawn to an older man is not looking for a male body with extra birthdays. She is looking for order, direction, steadiness, emotional safety without softness, strength without noise. If she wanted chaos, she could stay with boys who confuse energy with substance. So why does she ask, "Why are you still single?" Because she wants to know whether your independence is chosen or forced, whether you are selective or just difficult, whether you are peaceful or just emotionally unavailable and calling it maturity. That question is not about your dating history, it is about your emotional architecture. She wants to know if you are alone because you refused what was low quality, or because you destroyed everything good that came near you. She wants to know if your quiet is wisdom or bitterness. That's what she's listening for. And why does she ask, "What do you want with me?" Because desire without direction is dangerous. She wants to know whether you can name your intention without trembling, whether you can want her without trying to own her, whether you can be honest without becoming sloppy. She is not always asking for a label. Sometimes she is asking whether your energy is clean, whether you are here to mentor, manipulate, seduce, escape, or actually meet her like a man. She wants to know if your presence has discipline behind it. That's what that question is. Now here's where men get exposed. The first question hits their ego. The second question hits their hunger. So what do? They over-explain, they brag, they posture, they start talking too much, they turn calm questions into auditions. They hear, "Why are you still single?" and launch into a defense speech. They hear, "What do you want with me?" and suddenly become foggy, evasive, overly smooth, or embarrassingly intense. That's called incongruence. That's called not knowing who you are until someone attractive asks you to prove it. And women feel that instantly, because attraction is not built on answers alone. It is built on how a man occupies his answers. A weak man gives the right words with shaky energy. A grounded man can say very little and still communicate everything. Presence versus performance, truth versus strategy, reality versus fantasy. That is where this whole thing is won or lost. Let's go deeper. Why does this dynamic break so many men, especially older men? Because they secretly believe age should automatically command respect. So when a younger woman tests them, they get offended. They think, "I've lived more, earned more, suffered more, learned more. Why should I have to explain myself?" Because maturity that cannot be examined is not maturity, it is ego. And ego always gets loud when substance is thin. Or worse, they get intoxicated by the attention. A younger woman asks two honest questions and they immediately start fantasizing. They stop leading themselves. They start chasing the feeling of being wanted, admired, revived. That's called regression. That's an older body with a younger man's undisciplined mind. And it is painfully obvious. The cost of failing these tests is bigger than one missed connection. You reinforce the weakest version of yourself. You teach your body that attraction is something to perform under instead of something to remain steady inside. You become reactive, defensive, vague. You start shaping yourself around what you think she wants to hear. Then you lose the very thing that made the idea of you attractive in the first place because what she is craving is not your age. It is your frame. Let that land. She is not craving the number. She is craving the nervous system she hopes comes with the number, the composure, the patience, the boundaries, the ability to say less and mean more, the ability to want without wobbling, the ability to look at her beauty and still remain where you are. That is what makes an older man dangerous in the right way, not because he knows tricks, because he has stopped needing them. That is the reframe. These two questions are not obstacles. They are invitations to reveal what kind of man time has built, not what kind of image you can project, what kind of man you actually are. So let's break the first one open. Why are you still single? The wrong answer is defensive. Because women these days are impossible, weak, bitter, exposed, or I was too focused on success. Translation: I think being busy is a personality, or worse, a long, tragic autobiography trying to make her pity your loneliness. No, that question is not asking for a courtroom statement. It is asking for emotional signal. The right energy is simple, clean, unashamed. You tell the truth without selling it. Something like this in spirit. I've built a life I respect, and I don't force connection just to avoid being alone. That's strength. That tells her you are not single because nobody chose you. You are single because you do not abandon your standards to escape solitude. That's called self-respect. Now, the second one, what do you want with me? Again, most men fail because they go to one of two extremes. Either they become foggy and hide behind vagueness because they're scared honesty will cost them access, or they become too intense too fast because they're drunk on possibility. One is cowardice, the other is appetite. Neither is grounded. The right energy is direct without pressure, honest without claim, something like this in spirit. I want to get to know you and see if there's something real worth building, without forcing what hasn't earned itself yet. That's clean. That tells her you have desire, but your desire answers to discipline. It tells her you're not here to play dumb games, and you're also not here to kidnap the future with premature intensity. That's the balance she's testing for. And now we get to the archetype. The man she actually craves is not trying to be impressive. He already has a life. His routine exists before her and after her. He has work that matters, standards that cost him something, and a nervous system that does not spike every time a beautiful woman gives him attention. He is not cold, he is not detached, he is available without being loose. He is warm without being overeager, he listens fully, he speaks clearly, he does not rush to prove value because his value is already structured into how he lives. You can feel it in his pace, in his eye contact, in his restraint, in the fact that he does not try to harvest every opening for validation. That's the man. He doesn't answer, "Why are you still single?" like he's apologizing. He doesn't answer, "What do you want with me?" like he's begging. He doesn't turn female interest into a stage for his insecurity. He doesn't confuse being desired with being defined. He knows who he is before she asks. That's why the questions don't shake him. And let's be honest, that is rare. Very rare. Because most men are either too hard or too hungry, too closed or too eager, too vague or too forceful. They hide behind mystery because they're scared of truth, or they drown the moment in intensity because they're scared of silence. But a mature man, he can stand in silence, he can survive clarity, he can tell the truth and let the chips fall where they fall. That's power. So what should you do? First, stop hearing female questions as threats. They are not attacks, they are mirrors. If a simple question destabilizes you, that's not her power, that's your lack of grounding. Second, answer from identity, not from tactics. Do not search for the perfect line. Become the man for whom the line becomes obvious. If your life is built cleanly, your answers will come out cleanly. If your life is chaos, no script will save you. Third, cut the autobiography. Women do not trust men who rush to explain themselves into being acceptable. Short, clear, calm. Let your energy finish the sentence your words began. Fourth, don't overpromise. The second you feel chemistry, you do not need to start painting visions of trips, futures, soul connections, or destiny. That's fantasy. Stay in reality. Stay with what is true now. Fifth, stop using maturity as branding. Plenty of older men are still boys with better watches. If you want to be different, show it in steadiness, show it in timing, show it in what you do not chase, show it in what you refuse to fake. Do this, stop this, redirect this. Do answer simply, stop explaining desperately. Redirect into grounded truth. Do show intention. Stop performing certainty you don't have. Redirect into honest pace. Do hold standards. Stop using charm to cover emptiness. Redirect into structure, routine, purpose. Do let attraction exist. Stop letting attraction manage you. Redirect back into self-command. And hear this clearly. The woman who craves an older man is often starving for what younger men around her cannot hold consistently: calm, direction, emotional containment, decision, safety without softness, leadership without control. If you try to mimic that with lines, you will fail. If you try to cosplay wisdom, she will smell it. If you try to weaponize your age, you will look insecure. She is not testing for your resume. She is testing for your regulation. That's called masculine gravity. It is the ability to make a moment feel stable because you are stable. It is the ability to make desire feel clean because you are clean. It is the ability to say what you mean without turning truth into a performance. So the next time those questions come, do not flinch. Do not start dancing. Do not start negotiating your identity in real time. Hear what is underneath them. Why are you still single? Means, can you be alone without being broken? What do you want with me? Means, can you desire me without becoming dangerous, vague, or weak? Answer those two questions with your life first, then with your mouth. That's the part nobody wants to hear. Your words matter, but your life answers first. If your routine is empty, your standards are fake, your mind is undisciplined, and your emotions are still ruled by validation, no polished sentence will hide it for long. She might be intrigued for a night, maybe two, but eventually the truth of your structure will speak. So build the structure. Build a life where solitude is not punishment. Build standards that make sense when nobody is watching. Build enough purpose that beauty does not pull you off center. Build enough emotional control that questions feel like invitations, not interrogations. Then something changes. You stop trying to sound like the man she craves. You become him. And when you become him, you no longer need to chase younger energy to feel alive. You meet it from fullness, not from lack. You appreciate it without trying to consume it. You enjoy attraction without kneeling to it. You stop acting like every beautiful woman is a chance to prove you still matter. You already matter. That is why your presence becomes heavier, cleaner, more memorable. That is the identity reset. You are not here to use age as a shortcut to authority. You are here to earn the gravity age was supposed to build. You are not here to get flattered by youth and then unravel under two simple questions. You are here to become a man so anchored that those questions only reveal the truth you already live. You are the answer, not the age gap, not the chemistry, not the fantasy. You, your standards, your pace, your self-respect. Your ability to stay centered when desire, curiosity, and tension all show up in the same room. That is real maturity. That is real masculine power. That is what she's actually testing for. Subscribe if you want more truth like this, because comfort will keep you decorative, but clarity will make you solid. Stay here if you're serious about discipline, self respect, and becoming the kind of man who does not get exposed by attraction, attention, or a beautiful woman's questions. You're not alone here. You're just finally deciding to build substance instead of image, and that is where your next level begins.